Now at 5, a Pendleton man admitted in court today to driving drunk and then causing a crash in which one man died, 3 others were injured.
Rich and I was in the courtroom with the victim's family when Connor Gaskill accepted a plea deal.
Connor Gaskill slipped into the courtroom almost unnoticed, but he could not avoid the camera as he pleaded guilty to driving after a night of drinking at Baller Works in September 2022. His white Honda Accord ran a stop sign at 24th and Delaware.
Detectives were able to retrieve the airbag control module from Gaskill's vehicle and learned the vehicle was traveling at a speed of 55 miles per hour at the time of impact. The speed limit for East 24th Street is 30 miles per hour.
The Accord T-boned a lift car, killing 22-year-old passenger Rashid Conte in the back seat. His brother, a friend, and the Lyft driver also suffered serious injuries.
You were the one that caused the death while operating while intoxicated.
Yes, Your Honor.
You were the one that caused serious bodily injury while operating a vehicle while intoxicated.
Yes, Your Honor.
You were the one that caused serious bodily injury to another individual when operating a vehicle while intoxicated.
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were the one that lastly caused serious bodily injury when operating a vehicle while intoxicated to a fourth.
Yes, Your Honor.
Court will enter judgment of conviction.
Conte's mother and grandmother attended the hearing. His father and brother watched by video conference. The family issued this statement. Rashid was the heart of our family, and the harm Mr. Gaskill has inflicted cannot be measured by any sentence he serves. The maximum prison sentence is 4 years. This case is hampered by police officers at the scene who were later disciplined, not conducting a field sobriety test. Sentencing is set for February 24th. Rich Nye, 13 News.
Thank you, Rich. And the plea agreement also suspends Connor Gaskill's driving privileges for 2 years. Rashid Conte was adopted as a toddler from Sierra Leone. He graduated from Carmel High School in 2018.
One of the young men charged with bringing machine guns into Castleton Square Mall a little more than 2 years ago will now spend 1 year in prison and 3 years of home detention. Octavius Reed, who was 19 years old at the time, took a plea deal in a Marion County courtroom today, followed by his sentencing. Investigators say he and another young man, Zachary Hunter, had Glock handguns with machine gun conversion devices, high-capacity magazines, and ammunition on them in the mall the day after Christmas in 2023. Now Hunter, who was 18 at the time, is taking a plea deal for possession of a machine gun. A judge will provide a sentence for him later this month. Tonight, a 28-year-old man is under arrest accused of a deadly shooting on Christmas Day. Derek McKenzie III faces charges of murder and unlawful possession of a firearm by a serious violent felon. He's accused of shooting and killing 44-year-old Cedric Cruz at a home near East 46 in Arlington this past December. Detectives later identified McKenzie as the suspect and just arrested him yesterday. He's expected to make his initial appearance in court Thursday morning.
An update tonight following a deadly house fire in Morgan County. The county coroner is identifying the man killed as 77-year-old Russell Plummer. The fire happened early Saturday morning in Martinsville. Investigators are now trying to figure out what caused this fire. An Indiana State Police trooper is in the hospital tonight after a crash in Grant County. It happened around 9 o'clock this morning near Gas City. State police investigators believe senior trooper Weston Shanks was on his routine patrol when he crashed into the back of a truck pulling a trailer which had slowed to make a turn. The trooper is expected to recover from his injuries. The truck driver was not hurt. Ladies?
Well, at this time yesterday, it was 60 degrees as we look live downtown in Indianapolis. The sky is blue, the sun is shining, but boy, it is much, much colder, just as you predicted.
We are a good 20, 30 colder than this time yesterday, but I'll tell you, the sunshine did help out today.
It does help.
It lessens that cold blow a little bit.
And the wind wasn't so bad either.
No, so we've got 30s and 40s on the map, and here to alert you of a little bit of a weather pattern change coming our way this time tomorrow. 30s and 40s right now, including 36 degrees in Connersville, 38 Crawfordsville, 44 Brown County. Radar is clear, but I want to point out these winter weather advisories that come into the northwestern part of our state, and we may actually see pushed and issued a little farther east in the coming hours. We'll keep you updated on that. Issued thanks to a weather system that brings the potential for some ice accumulations. Locally, this looks to be a glaze for a good part of areas north of Indianapolis, and then once you get into the northern part of the state, that's where we could see some higher totals. One thing that works in our favor, we're not expecting this to arrive until later in the day. That should allow the temperatures to come up just enough. More on that and the hour-by-hour timeline in a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Angela. And make sure that you've got the Live.Thor 13 weather app before those big weather changes roll in tomorrow. It's a free download in your phone's app store. And once you get it, make sure you check out the weather blog for any forecast updates as they come in hour by hour.
Property taxes are expected to be a big topic at the Statehouse this session, with governor and lawmakers talking about them.
Our 13 News Statehouse reporter Emily Longnecker was there today as the governor met with some local property owners who say in their experience they've seen their property taxes double. Emily, what does the governor say about the impact of cutting property taxes if this measure in fact does go through?
Well, we know property taxes fund local services like school, fire, and police, and that's got local governments concerned about paying for those services if there is less property tax money coming in. At the same time, Governor Braun has said that Hoosiers have asked him and said that property tax relief is an issue that needs to be addressed, so his plan to do that is Senate Bill 1. That plan would cut property taxes by increasing the amount Hoosiers could deduct from their home's assessed value. The governor's proposal also puts a cap on how much property taxes could grow, and it changes how and when local school districts can use a referendum to ask for more money through a property tax increase. The governor's proposal to cut property taxes could see local school districts losing millions of dollars that fund education.
I would want to see how much of that money can be accounted for with true cost increases. Almost all of them are saying that they can't do without what they're having now. I would say prove it. Prove it that you didn't salt away a lot, that you didn't overburden the taxpayer by maybe making investments in buildings that weren't needed or other things that weren't essential.
Democratic lawmakers have said they want property tax reform too, but have pushed back on doing it at the expense of local schools.
Had the state of Indiana fully funded public education, which is a constitutional requirement in our state to fund public schools, had the state of Indiana fully funded public education, we would have not needed the reliance on locals to use their property taxes to fund our schools.
This is far from a done deal. The committee looking at Senate Bill 1 did not vote on it today. That vote could happen next week after lawmakers get a chance to propose some changes to the bill. Now, if you'd like to look at how Senate Bill 1 could impact local governments, we did some of the math for you. You can see a complete breakdown of those numbers at WTHR.com. At the Statehouse, Emily Longnecker, 13 News.
Thanks, Emily. And a bill which would have made it harder for couples with children to get a divorce in Indiana is now dead at the Statehouse. There were concerns about the bill, which would have required testimony from a witness that a marriage was irretrievably broken in order to get a divorce. But those concerns do not appear to be the reason that it was killed. The House voted to withdraw the bill because the author had submitted too many bills this session.
Educators all across the country and right here in Indiana are watching Washington, D.C. very closely tonight as President Trump reportedly considers eliminating the federal Department of Education.
Two sources tell NBC News the White House is preparing an executive order to do just that. They say the goal is to return public education completely to local districts and each state. And it's something the president had campaigned on for years.
But critics say they are concerned right now about what will happen to the federal money that states receive every year for public schools. Would they still get that money? That's a big question.
I also worry about if the states have a lot of flexibility, what happens when it's based upon agendas and not on the intent of those dollars. So there's a whole lot at play that I think Indiana needs to pay attention.
Do you think that the U.S. Department of Education needs to at least be tweaked or changed in some way?
I'm not opposed to that. I think we can always improve, but it goes back to, I was a special education teacher back in the day, and I will tell you from being in that role, being at the Statehouse, being a local superintendent and a principal, there simply are not enough funds for what a school is up against. And so, saying that they're going to start eliminating some of those dollars or some of those services is very problematic because they're going to have to come from somewhere.
Thank you to Destin Grove for those interviews. Now, legal experts say that the president does not have the authority to abolish federal agencies that were created by Congress. 13 News also today reached out to the current state superintendent of public instruction for an interview on the impact of abolishing the Department of Ed. And at last check, we had yet to hear back from them.
Right now, there are questions surrounding the next leader of Indianapolis Animal Care Services. Last night, Kelly Diamond's role was supposed to be approved.
However, the counselors instead voted to send the proposal for her approval back to the committee for more discussion. Tonight, our Marion County reporter Lauren Kostick explains why.
This year, Indianapolis Animal Care Services became its own city department while a new shelter is being built. The new director was also supposed to be approved this week, but now counselors believe that vote needs more input.
To send a motion to send it back to committee.
Monday night, counselors voted unanimously to send the proposal back to committee after more than a dozen shelter volunteers showed up to block Kelly Diamond's appointment. Currently, Diamond is the interim director, but some believe the department needs new leadership.
A lot of people would say that Kelly Diamond has been painting an inaccurate picture of what's going on at IACS. People have said that they're impressed with her leadership and her management, but no one at IACS would agree with that.
In a statement, IACS said Diamond has had numerous conversations with counselors and said she is looking forward to continuing those conversations, going on to say she is committed to advocating for animals in the city. And coming up at 6:15, hear what shelter volunteers say was the final straw that made them speak out during Monday's meeting. In Indianapolis, Lauren Kostick, 13 News.
Indy's new animal shelter is scheduled to be completed sometime next year on the southeast side. Meantime, city leaders hope it addresses the overcrowding and concerns about staffing.